So here I am, a gay schizophrenic, and this is the podcast as of September 10th, 2024. So this is me recording stuff on this tape recorder. Actually, it's digital. Then posting these thoughts here. I actually got this recorder because therapy was unavailable. So my therapist is this recording device. It works. Didn't need therapy till they offered it, and then I started thinking about stuff I'd like to discuss with therapists, but none was available. The first episode is going to be kind of random, but I think I have a point, so future episodes will be less random and more focused on whatever it is I feel like talking about. You can figure out my point as we go along. Yes, I am hella gay and delightfully insane, since I'm a schizophrenic or I'm the sanest person you'll ever meet. On to the crap I recorded and I'm reading you now. This is a pretty cheap tape recorder I'm using, so I'm not even sure how I transfer over to YouTube. So watch me play with this tape recorder for the next 30 minutes or so and be amused or offended. Both being amused or offended are viable means of entertainment. So here we go. Let's see here. Not the best light in here, so it's kind of hard to see where the things start. Let's see what we got here. All right, hold up. When questioning the morality of something, it is necessary to question the legality first. Are laws a shared consensus of what we as society consider wrong? Take, for instance, the smoking age. Many people would have told you, since the smoking age was 18 for a long time, that buying cigarettes for someone under the age of 18 was wrong. But did we change our mind and decide that it was wrong for someone between the ages of 18 and 21 to smoke? Or was this simply something forced upon us by politicians with no change in the actual morality of our society? That's the first point I was trying to make there, so you can just take that at face value. On to the next point. When questioning the morality of something, that's not the right thing. Coming to a realization that I've drinking 8 beers tonight on a break from liquor. My liquor consumption is supposed to be a cup a night, which is 5.5 drinks, but it never is. My doctor, who I lied to and told that I drank 5.5 drinks a night or a cup of liquor a night, said that was fine, but I never stick to it. So now beer is a substitution for liquor after the bender I took last night. And the question is why? Well, I'm a medicated schizophrenic, so perhaps that's the reason I need to drink, for more self-medication. Of course, at what point do you stop needing self-medication? I certainly have not reached that point. Under the promise of therapy from my doctor, which got me thinking of things such as what I'd like to discuss, mainly some of my earliest traumatic memories and something else, something in my early 20s and how my schizophrenia began. Except there's no one to really talk to, which is why I bought this tape recorder. So is a tape recorder a form of therapist when no one will listen? In your healthcare plan, which I'm on Medicare or Medicaid, one or the other, whichever one doesn't require you to be over 65. So, am I supposed to just accept there's no help? Or is it supposed to help myself? I wasn't really needing any help until therapy was offered under his professional opinion, which I deferred to. He insisted it would be twice a month or weekly, that once a month simply wouldn't be enough. But well, now it's 2 weeks later, they haven't answered my calls, and they won't pick up the phone. So is this modern psychiatry? I suppose so. Well, are you thinking yet? That's good. You should think. Thinking's good for you. And I assume you're still allowed to smoke on YouTube. I mean, they say you can't smoke anywhere. I smoke at the beach, and you're always worried about getting busted and all that, especially on the boardwalk. My God. But anyway, if you're not thinking yet, let's see if any of the rest of the stuff makes you think. So picking up on the last exactly did I want to discuss with my psychiatrist or therapist? Fair question. What I actually wanted to discuss was something I haven't really brought up to too many people. And that's in my earliest memories of my dog being poisoned on Easter at the age of 3. It played a part in my development of schizophrenia as one of the weak links in my mental health that allowed schizophrenia to develop. When I say schizophrenia, I'm talking about imaginary worlds, imaginary people, the astral realm, which isn't all that imaginary. Of course, I'm saying that because I'm delightfully insane. Either that or I'm the sanest person they are for me. Then I wanted to discuss my early 20s and the world I was living in when I developed schizophrenia, which I nearly discussed with my mother, which is clearly a bad idea because it involves bikers, coke, crack, guns, knives, and white supremacy and skinheads. So that's what I was looking to discuss, and what is there to discuss with what's there? Well, how much of it really matters? I suppose not a lot. Just never talked to anybody with it about it because I was kind of sworn to secrecy. But that's what I thought that I would like to discuss with the therapist. Of course, there is no therapist, only this tape recorder. So there we go. Perhaps this tape recorder will be turned into some kind of novel. Certainly not a complete work of non-fiction about my life, because I'm no choir boy. But, yeah. At what point is art allowed to not be persecuted for the crimes of the artist? How controlled is our art? Foreign films have far more nudity than American, so clearly our art is controlled and censored. But to write a book about my own life, how much of it would I be held criminally liable for, I wonder? So we're still thinking. That's good. Thinking is good. And whatever comments you leave on this video, I'll respond to in the next video. I'm expecting this to be a posted 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day. I always come up with new things to say to the tape recorder. I'm going to try to keep this to 30 minutes of video. So we're only at the 8-minute mark. 4, 3, 2, 1. 8 minutes. Let's see what the next thread is. I wonder what I was talking about. I have a point. So, this thread is entitled, What the Hell Was Jesus Thinking? An omnipotent, all-powerful God. Somehow the best plan he could come up with was be tortured to death, crucified, and die to rise again. Is this just theatrics? I mean, how gay is the Christian God? They need something that theatrical to prove a point, to prove that he loves us. And of course, his love is conditional. If you don't believe in him, you go straight to hell, according to most Christians. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Why was such a sadistic act necessary for God to forgive us sins if he's all powerful? I assure you, if I was all powerful and all omnipotent, I could find a better plan than being nailed to 2 2x4s. Why couldn't he? And people believe this stuff out of fear because they don't want to go to hell. Shit that you're fed when you're younger, turn to in desperation for drug addicts and born-again Christians, of which I was one for a little bit. But the whole gay thing, well, Jesus and the gay thing. Jesus and the gay thing. If anti-homosexuality was so important to Christianity, how come Jesus never mentioned it? He did heal a Roman legionary, and there was plenty of gays in his time. They were all over the place. They were an occupied nation from a homosexual nation, the Romans. And yet he never mentioned homosexuality. It's later mentioned by St. Paul, who was essentially a serial killer of Christians, but somehow became a saint. So, all omnipotent, all powerful God sends you to hell if you don't believe in him. And the best plan he could come up with was to be nailed to 2x4s and tortured to death. Not much of a God. Not much of a God at all. And he's dead. And he's not coming back. Yes, I believe Jesus is dead. Why? We'll get to that in future episodes. But yeah, nailed to 2x4s is the plan he came up with. So if in the comments you want to go ahead and pretend you're all powerful and all omnipotent and come up with a better plan than that to show that you love the world, go ahead. Maybe it will involve flowers. I don't know. I mean, even I'm not trying to poke holes in all the Christian things because there's a lot of holes. Just the main point that the whole being tortured to death, the crux of Christianity doesn't make any sense at all. But also, if you think that feeding the masses was a good idea, remember there was a storm where he walked on water? Well, kind of ruined the fishing trip. So they would have had plenty of fish to feed the masses if he had just stopped the storm. But once again, had to be theatrical and walk on water. So ruined the fishing trip, then miraculously feeds people. Wouldn't have been a miracle necessary if he had just stopped the storm, which he could have done if he's all powerful. But once again, theatrics had to walk on water. So Jesus is not only not God or dead or whatever, but he's also incredibly theatrical. Has a good publicist. I don't have a good publicist. Next. So this thread is entitled Everyone is Gay. Well, everyone's gay. It's true. At least at some point in their life. Maybe it's something you grow out of. Me, I'm not growing out of it. I couldn't possibly stand to have another woman controlling my life. But, yeah, so what proof do I have that everyone is gay? A whole empire that lasted over 1,000 years that allowed homosexuality on all levels was accepted by everyone in this empire. So, if given the choice, most people would be gay on some level. Levels that most of us consider despicable at some level. And, yes, everybody's gay, and then the Christians came along. They've been telling people what to do ever since. So, yeah, there you go. The modern world is a Christian disease. Everyone is gay. We'd be better off if people just accepted that. Are we all thinking now? That's good. Let's think some more. I've kind of forgotten what's on this thing, so let's just be surprised. This book is entitled Being Locked Up. You've never been locked up, especially locked up for reasons that are unfair or when you haven't actually committed a crime, then you probably wouldn't understand what you turn to. Me? I did not turn to Jesus because he was not there. He was not there to comfort me. He was not there in any shape or form. They gave me a Bible or a book of the Psalms at some point, and I read all of it, and it read like something from the Water Boy. Mama says, Mama says. But God did, God did, God did. It's one of the biggest hacks of literature. How the hell is it the most widely sold book ever that people study in depth? It's just God did this, God did that, God saved that, repeated. So, what did I turn to? Well, I thought I was a Nazi by the time I got out because of the blacks and they were pissing me off. It seemed every time we got in some kind of trouble from a guard or psych tech, as it like to be called, there was always a black. So, and same with the other inmates or mental patients, it always seemed to be the blacks that were causing me trouble. I nearly had to take out somebody's eye. But yeah, so basically I turned to the astral realm and instead of Jesus, took over the penitentiary from all the demons living in there, and started executing the guards' astral cells. So also while in there that I finished off, or directly before entering there, that I finished off all the gods. For there are no more gods. For someone that understood the astral realm, challenge them. They cannot challenge my faith in the astral realm or the faith of their followers. So I'm not sure exactly how I got rid of all the gods, but the gods are dead. Does this make me a megalomaniac? Sure, you can call me that. I'm a schizophrenic dealing with the schizophrenic world, and there's no gods anymore. And gods always fucking sucked in the goddamn fucking schizophrenic world. So, yeah, there's no gods. Do as you please. And, yeah, Jesus only comforts fools. And I am no fool. Well, isn't that special? Isn't that great? All the guys did? And you thought this might be depressing or sad. I don't know what you thought. I mean, you tuned into a podcast called Gay Schizophrenic, so I don't know what you were expecting. Let's listen to more. And of course, in the next one, hopefully there's some comments and I can answer some questions and stuff. So I'm sure some people find some holes in my logic, just like I did in the Christians. But yeah, I think I'm right. So go ahead and poke holes in my theory. Let's see what I said next. This is a recording over the last couple of days. I don't really keep track of time all that well. Starting a job in October, so right now I still got some free time. But yeah, let's just see what else is on here. What's next? What could it be? So I've been committed 16 or 17 times after this last time. And it's a question of when I'll let go of the anger of being unjustly committed so many times. Nowadays, my mother says it's healthy for me to talk to myself, which is unmercifully punished for most of my life. And that's a load off my mind being able to talk to myself. Plus, I have a tape recorder, so even if I wasn't allowed to talk to myself, I'm talking to a tape recorder. Therefore, I'm not fucking crazy. Well, yeah, I forgot the point on this, but why am I still mad about it? Geez, I don't know, getting tied down, needles in my legs, and harmful pills shoved down my throat, and the general not being able to go outside, having to pace the hall, bullshit groups, where heroines actually want to whine about heroin. Hey, if you can't keep a needle out of your arm when you can just smoke or snort heroin, get over yourself and stop hogging all the discussion time at the mental institution. Seriously. Can't be that good of a drug. I snorted heroin once. I got fucked up, but it wasn't any kind of magical experience that made me want to stick needles in my arm. I could just go get drunk or stoned. Hell, the medicinal marijuana card, you can get so stoned you can way out and achieve the effects of heroin simply with pot. Because heroin just generally knocks you out if you inject it, and I'm sure it's much more pleasant to be knocked out by marijuana. Even when I didn't have a medicinal card, I smoked cigars, and I smoked 2 cigars in 30 minutes to be just as high as on marijuana for lack of a hookup. So fuck your street drugs. Get yourself straight. I don't want to smoke pot because I don't want to be a pothead. If you can't keep needles out of your arm, what the fuck is your problem? Well, there we go. I had to listen to a bunch of heroin addicts whine, in case you can't tell. And yeah, what I mean by getting high on pot, higher on heroin, higher with pot than with heroin is that if you eat, 4,000 milligrams of pot and the edibles they have, which aren't edibles, they're ingestibles or consumables. They keep changing it because edibles are illegal, but ingestibles or consumables are not. And what the difference is there, I asked, and they asked me if I cared. I said, no, just give me the gummies. So there, now we're getting a little bit of anger. Not such a happy boy anymore. Let's see here. Let's hope that I cheer up here a little bit. Let's go out on a happy note. Am I happy in the next one? Let's find out. let's get into my real psychosis. Well, I don't live alone. I live with an astral family. There's something like 8, 9, or 10 of us or something. It gets hard to count a family that large, especially when you can't actually see them, but you know they're there. So, just start naming them off. There's Amal, who's 17, helps raise the younger ones. Mikhail, who's 5. Captain, who's small but fits in the tank. I drive a tank. And there's a couple others out there. I'm sure I could think of them. I wasn't drunk right now. But it's whoever, we're basically all brood brothers for some kind of brain bug that not brain bug, but communion with the insects, natural world, and all that. So we're somehow connected to the insects, and it's hard to explain. Just because I can't remember all the names doesn't mean there's not more of them. Minor characters, major characters, they pop up from time to time. So everybody's asleep right now, so no one's here to remind me of their name. But yeah, having an astral family. Well, I saw a movie where the guy was actually putting an astral kid into his back seat. I used to buckle up the back seats of my car, so I've actually done that. And, yeah, astral family, all that bullshit. Extended family for platoons. To protect ourselves from the communists, Satanists, socialists, and to a lesser extent, blacks. Blacks kind of go along with the brood now. So the need to exterminate them is not there. For a while, it was exterminating black guys for self-society. But yes, this is still the end of my psychosis, as I said. So I know it's not real? No, I don't. I'm psychotic. Is that psychotic to believe in imaginary people or astral people? Sure, lots of people do believe in something like this, but other people tell me about astral kids that were following them around. So, yeah, that's kind of what I deal with. Not the best explanation that I'm giving right now, but it's kind of complicated. Do I just not want to be alone that bad? It's hard to say. But, yeah, it's not safe to be alone in the astral realm. That's why they're there. That the kids don't grow up to become soldiers. So much faster than actual year-by-year progression. So, yeah, this thread didn't make a lot of sense. It's hard to explain, but yeah, it's some kind of astral family. So we do apologize for any racist material that pops up in these videos. I assure you, it's not the point of the podcast. Just I've only been out a month, so I still hold certain prejudices. But yeah, I do apologize, and we're not trying to offend you on that level. So don't freak out. Hopefully, I still have freedom of speech, and they don't take the damn video down just because I said one little thing. After all, this is pre-recorded. I don't know everything that's on here. So yeah, let's move on. And as far as the astral people, name a few more. We can introduce you to GURP. He's for some reason, schizophrenics find it important to name the ages of our different personalities or astral buddies or whatever. So there's GURP, he's 35. He turned 90 and died, was reborn. Well, bounced back up to 35 pretty much immediately. He's more of the father figure. And Hamal and Mikhail of our image. There's Ish. Ish is 8. He's a brood brother. Doesn't think a lot. There's Golf Ball. He's the one that usually drives. Don't worry, he's 16. And there's others, but I forget. Or maybe that is all. I don't know. Let's move on. Having been in a 2-year, 9-month relationship with someone else who was a total schizophrenic with their own schizophrenic world, whether it was telling the truth or not, that our worlds never really lined up, is kind of a mystery. Of course, you want to approach it without too much fear of denying what I know. It does seem odd that he would have his world based on similar lines. It was a council that discussed things to keep things in order. Mine was more militaristic regime. But the world's never really lined up. Maybe he was lying. I'm not sure. It's hard to explain why one schizophrenic world doesn't match up with another schizophrenic world, especially as close as we were, being sexual partners over 100 times easily. So, yeah, it kind of makes you think. Perhaps it's my own personal demons, my own personal headspace. I don't believe in the concept that we're all gods. I think that's nonsense. I'm not a god of my schizophrenic realm, simply another citizen. And other people have their citizens. And I believe they match up more than people think they do. Of course, there's some imagination that gets thrown into it, which can make things confusing. But I believe most people's astral selves interact with the same realm that other people's astral selves do. I know that the ones around me, even if they're in my head, are against communists, Satanists, and socialists. Some of the more miserable voices I could ever want to hear. So yeah. Then of course again the whole thing, can you tell a psychiatrist to hear voices without them drugging the hell out of you? So I probably won't. There you go. Alrighty, we're into the astral realm a little bit, where the astral realm is basically the imaginary realm. If you hear voices, that's where they're coming from. And it's an imaginary realm that everyone lives in to some extent. A lot of people deny it. But yeah, it's out there. So you gotta interact with it. It's the astral realm. It's not the same thing as imagination land, mind you, but it's maybe some people would refer to it as that, but really it's just interaction with the spirits and a lot of space elves in it. So yeah, so we're getting pretty close to the 30-minute mark. So I could wrap up, but I'm just dying to see what I said next. So let's check it out. Let's see if I need to censor it. I had a point. I'm not sure what it is. Not sure my point is. I ran out of beer or something like that. Got me with my buddy at 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. There's plenty of time to sleep. So that pinball will keep me awake. Pinball's good for that. Pinball's a fun time. I'm trying to do good on the AC/DC game. At least get more than one song played. It's kind of my goal. But yeah, we'll see if that ever happens. Pretty tough to get more than one song played. Especially I don't know what the fuck I'm aiming at. That's usually go for the big round the world trip with the pinball. As far as you can hit it back there and let it bounce around or go through chutes and ladders, that's pinball for you. Pinball is a pretty fun game. It's pretty exciting. Of course, 2 hours is about all I can stand of it. And it's looking like I want to get a membership for to keep this up. But we shall see what we do. I had a point. I really did. I'd love to change the world, but I don't know what to do. What could I possibly say that could have a world-changing impact in any piece of literature I put together from these recordings? Perhaps I've already said it. I just have to go over these recordings and put down stuff on paper. Of course, it had to be fictional. So yeah, I play pinball on Sundays at 2 to 4. So it's lots of fun, lots of pinball machines. But we're getting close to the 30-minute mark, and I don't want to overstay my welcome. So hopefully you haven't been terribly offended or amused. Hopefully you were amused and not offended. But if you're amused by being offended, that's okay. I wasn't trying to be offensive. And let's see here. Where was going? Oh, yeah, read my book, The Solar Kid: A Fable. Gotta search it kind of exact. It's not all that popular. The Solar Kid: A Fable, available on Kindle for free, and or it costs $1, and I get a penny of that per copy. So we're wrapping up here, and I'm sure I'm going to add something like donations to help me get something better than this tape recorder to record what I want. And I'm going to try to figure out how to post videos and stuff, never did any of that stuff. So check out the channel. And yeah, enjoy. Peace, love, and harmony. I'm an anarchist, not some kind of crazy right wing nut job, just an anarchist. And hopefully you are too. I could be wrong. I could be right. Till next time, this is Gay Schizophrenic on Gay Schizophrenic.